Yo, welcome back, people, man. Today's video, we're going to be reacting to like relationship like gurus or whatever you want to call them. I don't know if I should be doing this. Don't know if I'm going to get myself in trouble by doing this, but it's real life situation, and on this channel, we like to do real life. So let's just get into this video.
Any man that come in your life and let you do whatever you want is your homegirl. That ain't your man. That is not your man. Grown man not going for that. You know what I mean? Grown man not going for you just talking to me any kind of way because you mad. You know what I mean? Being disrespectful, whatever. Grown men not going for that, bro. All the yelling, screaming, arguing, we having conflict. Grown men not going for that. We gonna sit down at the table and we gonna have a grown conversation. We gonna talk about it, not yell about it, not argue about it, not try to say hurtful things to each other about it. No. We gonna sit down and have a grown conversation about it. That's the type of energy that grown men come into your life and bring. Yeah, I know you used to making all the decisions, but that's over. Watch out. I got this.
Ooh.
I take care of that. It's already handled. That's the energy. That's how grown men come in your life and move.
Facts.
You know what I mean? I'm not trying to control you. I don't have to. The consistency that I'm showing up with, the success that I'm showing up with, you're gonna want to get in line anyway. I ain't gotta argue with you. I ain't gotta go tit for tat with you. We ain't gotta, it ain't no petty behavior when grown men come in your life. That's just not how we move. We coming in there and we gonna be grown. We gonna move like adults.
Boy, I think what you were saying is kind of right still. Like a real man, like what we have in this society right now is that the balance is wrong between like in women and men. We've got too much women that are deep in their masculine energy, deep. So when a real man comes in, he has to soften that out. Has to, because there can't be two masculine energies like firing in the same relationship. Do you understand what I mean? Just like when a woman's a real, like she's in her feminine energy and then she meets a man that's in his feminine energy, too much in his feminine side, they're going to clash. There has to be the balance, and everything is about balance in life. So if we balance everything out right, then it should work out. Like at the end of the day, a real man is a leader, is a provider, yeah, is the alpha of the house, is the protector. So when a man is trying to lead in his house, sometimes I think in these days it's being taken as control. And men ain't about controlling. Real man is not about controlling. A real man will not try to control you, but he will lead you. And a real man will, if something's going outside of the standards that he set, he will put his foot down. And if you're not succumbing to what he's saying, then you can go about your business, or we're gonna work at this until you understand where I'm coming from. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in arguments. It could just be through grown conversations where the man has to elaborate and speak and, let the woman know where he's coming from and why he's coming from that and why he feels like that. And then a woman should kind of just, there's too much. Anyway, let's get into the next one.
Healed people let you sit on red for days. The easiest way to spot an unhealed person, watch their phone. Now, seriously, pay attention to how many times it ring when you're around them. How many text messages come through. How many notifications pop up. How many people got immediate access to their attention. Then watch what they do. They answer every call. They reply to every text. They stop talking in the middle of conversations. They check every notification. They jump every time somebody else's problem hit their screen. And people call that being carried. I don't call it being controlled. Because if everybody got access to your attention, then nobody got to respect your boundaries. See, unhealed people are usually running from themselves. That's why they always need noise. They always need a conversation. They always need a distraction. They always need to be needed. Some people are so addicted to being everybody else's emergency contact that they don't even know who they are. when don't nobody need them. Every time peace shows up, somebody call. Every time silence show up, somebody text. Every time they get a moment to think, somebody come dumping their drama onto them, and they let it happen over and over and over again. Now let me tell you what healed people do. Healed people leave you on red. Healed people will call you back next week. Healed people will return the text when they get around to it. Healed people don't feel guilty for protecting their peace. They understand that every notification ain't an emergency. Every request don't deserve a yes. Problem ain't theirs to solve. And because of that, people often make them the villain. You change, you acting funny, you think you better than everybody. No, they just stop letting everybody else control their time. See, cycle breakers learn something most people never learn. Access to me is a privilege, not a right. You don't get unlimited access to my attention just because we related. You don't get immediate access to me just because you want something. You don't get to interrupt my peace because you are uncomfortable with sitting in your own chaos. The most healed people I know ain't available all the time. They're available when they choose to be. That's the difference. One person owns their phone and the other person is owned by it. Healed people will let you sit on.
I agree. I agree in what you're saying, dude. Like, there was a time when I needed to be out all the time. I needed to be around things. I needed to be busy. And then I think that, I've started healing over the last, I say probably from like 2020 is when it really, really started. 2021 maybe. And like, I find now I'm at peace. Like, I'm at peace. I don't need to be on my phone all the time. I don't need to be, texting people. I don't need to be responding to people's things unless I want to. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I can go a whole day and not look at my phone. Because why? Because I'm all right. I don't need no dramas. I don't need the energy from others. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it is vitally important to protect your energy. Definitely.
Some women only want leadership until leadership disagrees with them. Then it's toxic. It's controlling. Then it's a problem. Sis, you prayed for a man who leads. You said you wanted someone with vision, with direction, someone who makes decisions and stands on them. And God sent you exactly that. But the moment his leadership doesn't align with what you already decided in your head, now he's controlling. Agreement is easy. Anybody can follow when the direction feels good. The test of trust is when you don't agree. When his decision does not.
Sorry, I have to pause that one because what you just said was right. Like, things is always rosy when everything is happy. But as soon as there's a disagreement, that's when the real struggle, problems, whatever you want to call it, starts. That's when the real work starts in a relationship. When it's happy, you're not looking at anything negative. Do you understand me? When something's going wrong, everything seems to be negative. So it's a harder place to work from. And if you can work from these negative places, you're just going to build the strongest relationship that you can. Continue.
Match your preference. When its direction feels uncomfortable, that's where relationships either grow or they break. A man can't lead a home where every decision requires pre-approval from the person who asked him to lead in the first place. He's going through the motions of authority while not having any of it. And eventually he stops trying. He realized that the position wasn't real. You gave him a title with no power behind it. And here's what nobody wants to hear. If you only follow when it's easy, you're not following. You're just allowing. And a man knows the difference. He feels it. He knows when his leadership is respected and when it's just tolerated. Tolerated leadership produces a passive man. Every single time. You're going to watch him shrink in real time and wonder, what happened to the man that I fell in love with? What happened to the man that I married? Now, this has nothing to do with blind obedience. This has nothing to do with the woman having no voice. Two people agreed on roles. One of them only honors the agreement when it's convenient. That's the fracture. If you ask God for a leader and he sent you one, let him lead when it feels good and when it doesn't. When you agree with him and when it requires trust that you haven't built yet. When it means releasing control you've been holding since before he arrived. That is the partnership that you prayed for. It just looks different than what you expected, but it always does. Some women only want.
Hey, that's true. Sometimes people wish for things and then when they get it, they don't know what to do with it. That's a major problem that's happening in the world right now. All these women talk about they want a real man, real man, real man, but when they get a real man, they do not know what to do with it. How to appreciate him, how to respect him. Do you know what I mean? How to bring even more out of him. Do you understand me? That's a real problem in the world at the moment. Like women think obedience is a man controlling you, and that's not the case. Like obedience is, I shouldn't even say the word obedience because I might get dug out for this, but when a woman is accepting of what the man is saying, then like if she truly believes in this man and accepts what he's saying, he will lead her to the kingdom that she wants. But it's when you've got women that, I want a real man. All right, then this is how we should do this. And this is how we're going to set this. No, but I don't like this one. Well, but this is going to be the way that I think we're going to get to where we're going to go. But I don't necessarily think that. Okay, but I'm telling you, I know. And as men, I'm going to say this. We thought about every raw situation, every single type of what can go wrong, what can go right, this, that, how, blue, what, left, right, up, down. We think about everything. So when we come with our, not conclusion, yes, our conclusion to the situation, best believe you must just let the man lead. If he's a man. Because there's some idiots out there that claim to be men and they are not. They're far from it. They're so emotional. They're far from being a man. And this is the confusion that's happening outside right now.
The most powerful thing I did for my marriage was say less. Yeah. It's not because I didn't have anything to say, but because the things that I did have to say were not helping. I had a voice and opinions and I used it all the time. And the more that I spoke, the further my husband got. So here are 3 things that I learned once I decided to finally be quiet. Number 1, my silence created space for God to speak to him. You know, I was trying to be my husband's conviction. Every time I saw something wrong, I addressed it. Every time he fell short, I pointed it out. I thought I was helping. I was getting God's way. 1 Peter 3:1 says a wife can win over her husband by her behavior without a word. I read that verse 100 times and kept talking. The day I put my case down and allowed God to pick it up, he changed it faster than I ever could.
That's true. Sometimes men just need to just sit down and think. They don't need no one to tell them because you're taking away that leadership. Do you understand me? So it can get a bit like, here she goes again, like trying to tell me what to do. Like I know what to do. So I get it. Sometimes saying less is probably the best. But right, let's just continue.
Number 2, what I was not saying became more powerful than what I was. You know, I used to feel like staying silent made me invisible, but that is not true. It is not true. When I stopped over explaining and talking so much, my husband started paying attention. So in those moments where I would try to fill the silence, he would begin to fill them. And he would say all the things that I was waiting to hear. Proverbs 10:19 says, where words are many, sin is not absent, but the one who holds their tongue is wise. I had to choose wisdom over being understood. And that was the hardest trade-off I've ever made. And at the same time, the most worth it. And number 3, my quiet became the safest place in our home. My husband started coming to me, not because I had all the answers, but because I stopped making him feel like he had to defend himself every time he walked through the door. I used to wonder why he didn't talk to me. The truth was, it's because I didn't give him room to. I always had an opinion and my mouth was always full. There was no space for him. Proverbs 31:26, she opens her mouth with wisdom, and faithful instruction is always on her tongue. Not constant instruction, and not every thought is wisdom. I had to learn the difference. If you've been talking and nothing has been changing, try something different and be quiet. Not as a punishment, not in bitterness, but in trust. Trust that God hears what you are not saying. Trust that he is working in the silence, and trust that the marriage that you are praying for will be laid before you by God himself. Okay? And I know it's hard. That's why I made this page. So go be her. The most powerful.
Well done to this young lady. Spoke very well. I don't even think I need to say no more.
The happiest wives, are submissive, and the happiest husbands are dominant. And I'm going to explain why. Because there's only one relationship dynamic where a man and a woman actually thrive together, and it's the exact one that you've been programmed to hate. Look at the couples around you. Really look. The ones that are constantly fighting, those are the 2 people fighting over who has the power. Every decision is a negotiation, and every disagreement is a fight. There are 2 leaders locked in a power struggle, and their nervous systems don't get a single day off ever. But now, look at the calm couples, the ones that feel easy to be around, right? He leads, she trusts the lead. He decides, she follows. And before you scream oppression, let me educate you on what it actually is. It's specialization. He carries all of the weight, the direction, the protection, the decisions, everything. And she protects something that his strength can't touch. The soul of the home.
Hey, yo, yes, lady. You see, when I see women that understand, it's like, where are you lot? There's not enough of you. There's not. Like, I do believe that society is getting a grip on our women. Society is the cause of a lot of problems in relationships. And it's like social media, all of this stuff, they all play with the system. They're all with the system. Everything they put out, the propaganda, everything they put out is for the system, to whatever they want to create at that moment. So in relationships right now, seems to be a divide with men and women. Like, and there's a struggle going on, and I feel sorry for the younger generation because, like, all the information that's being put out there, they're lost. They're lost. They're lost, man. And it's just like, what's going to happen to the future generations from now? Wow.
Emotional energy, the softness, the sanctuary. He protects the house and she makes it a home.
Yeah. That is exactly what it is. The man is the hunter, the woman is the homemaker. Like, that's what it was in the beginning, right? She looks after the home, the kids, and the man does everything else. He protects, he leads, he provides. Like, this is the three fundamental things in a man. Do you understand me? So if you ain't getting them three fundamental things from a man, he's not a man.
Take either one away and you don't get equality. You get two hands on one steering wheel, and that car is going straight off the cliff. Here's the part that just flies over people's heads. Attraction follows polarity. Period. Masculine and feminine are magnets. They attract because they're opposites, but make those poles identical, they repel. And that's how most of you become roommates with a mortgage. That's why so many equal partnership couples haven't even touched each other in months. They didn't lose love, they killed the polarity. So, no, a thriving relationship isn't fixed in couples therapy, it's lived. He leads, she follows. Simple. Do you disagree with me? Or do you agree? The happiest wives, are submissive. And
I agree with you, love. 100%, I agree.
We live in a time where women will get in front of a camera and they will take their pants, their shorts, and hike them up into every curve, every crevice, every nook and cranny of their body. They'll get a camera and they'll press record as they do it. They'll then edit it at angles so that you can see them pervert themselves out for millions of people. And they'll put in there to say, fit mom, on fitness journey, a woman who's encouraging other women on their health journey. God first, in the bio, demons. Now, as a man, if you are to put your seed in something like that, what do you think happens to that seed? How can you give her enough attention if she's wanting and seeking the attention of millions? Attention is the new currency, and only the devil can afford it. This is the language of kings. Tell that nasty little freaky little.
Say it, brother.
Tell her that we're praying for you. I'm working on being nicer.
Yeah, I'm not going to say no more to that one, but yeah, actually, I will say something. No man wants to have no woman. No real man wants to have no woman that's always up on Instagram, always up on. No, sorry, we just don't.
What's something you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
A woman with an unhealed father wound brings into the relationship a little girl who is still trying to feel safe with a man. And when a man is not grounded in his boundaries and his own self-worth and self-respect, he will slowly lose himself trying to prove that he's enough for her. But because she has this unhealed wound, he never will be. In the relationship, she says she wants leadership, but she punishes him when it shows up. She asks for decisiveness and strength, yet questions or criticizes all of his choices. And over time, he stops stepping forward, not because he can't lead, but because nothing he does feels supported. She undermines him in public, interrupting him, talking over him, correcting all of his words or decisions in front of others. And what looks small on the surface slowly turns into what feels like public humiliation to him. And he starts withdrawing to avoid it. She says she wants a man, but treats him like a boy, micromanaging, reminding, using a parental tone instead of standing beside him as an equal. And eventually the dynamic shifts from connection and love to control. And that's when all of the respect starts to erode in the relationship. And then she withholds appreciation and affection while amplifying criticism and coldness. What he does right becomes expected and unnoticed. What he does wrong becomes the focus. And what he comes home to is cold and bitter. She wants him to fight for her, but the way he sees it is that there's nothing left worth fighting for. And nothing he gives is enough anyways. So his motivation completely collapses. And here's the hard truth for us men too. We're the ones that allow her to do this. Because if a man isn't rooted in his own boundaries, in his own self-respect and self-worth, he'll tolerate this for much longer than he should. And over time, slowly lose himself trying to keep the peace. Stay strong, Kings.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree with everything you just said there. Trauma, not even, everybody's got trauma. But daddy traumas they're big. They're big, man. They can, they can live deep rooted. And when a woman thinks she's healed from it, it's still there. Yeah. I'm not going to say no more on that because, yeah, you're not going to draw me out on that one today. Definitely not.
5 signs your woman truly respects you, especially when she's upset, disappointed, or she's not getting her way. Number 5, she protects your reputation. When you're not around, she doesn't embarrass you, she's not going to mock you, and she's not going to use you as a punchline with her friends. She is not going to destroy your name just because she's angry. Number 4, she fights the problem without attacking your character. No low blows, no dragging up the past, and no trying to make you feel small like a little boy just for her to win. Number 3, she respects your no. She honors your boundaries without guilt trips or punishment or trying to wear you down because no means no. Number 2, she supports your growth. And she doesn't compete with your goals. She's not going to resent your discipline, and she will never sabotage the things that matter to you. She never weaponizes what you trusted her enough to reveal. Your fears, your insecurities, your private struggles. She is going to protect those things at all costs, especially when she's mad at you. Because respect is proven in how she handles your dignity. So if your woman is doing any one of those things, that woman does not respect you.
I kind of agree with that one. I like how she put it. I like how she said it. Like, it's just something that I think we all need to start acknowledging now, innit? It's just sometimes our toxic behaviors or our behaviors that will cause problems in a relationship. Like, nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. But it's just how you work through it, as she said, with dignity and with respect. Respect and dignity should always be at the top of the list when it comes to relationships. Like, A woman can tell you she loves you, but her actions do not display love. So, do you know what I mean? You have to, the actions always speak. Actions always speak louder than the words. So she can be saying a whole load of stuff, but if the actions ain't right or the actions are not following the words, then you can't stay with that. You can't be with that. She's not going to change. Same for a man too. If his words is not backed up by his actions, then it comes a point where you just have to say, do you know what? You're full of shit. That's it. And move the hell on. Anyway, I'd love to know like your comments, your thoughts. Please leave them in the comments, man. All right. Love, peace, and guidance. Blessings.